Ciao ragazzi, my name is Anthony and thank you so much for joining us on this audio-only experience on the Inter Worldwide podcast. It's an absolute pleasure to be here and an absolute pleasure to welcome three good friends, and I'm going to introduce them one by one to check in and see how they are doing. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome Aqueel on the Inter Worldwide podcast. Aqueel, how you doing, man?
Hey man, I'm doing great. Glad to be back here. I'm doing great. Great time to be. We're in December. We're looking good. Inter's looking good. I'm all excited. I'm all excited about it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thanks for coming on. It's also good to be joined by someone else down under, Matt Pickham, writer for the Inter Worldwide website. Thanks so much for joining me, man.
Thanks for having me, bro. No, I'm very, very excited to be here and discuss what's going on at the moment. It is an exciting time to be an Interisti at the moment, and everyone should be, really, really happy with where we are and where we're going to be. So, yeah, very exciting times ahead.
Well said, man. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome back from San Francisco, Alessandro. It's been a minute. How are you, sir?
Very good, very good. Last time we were not qualified for the next phase of the Champions League, so that's been a journey.
Yeah, definitely, man. And I can't wait to talk about that. That's pretty much where we're going to start. And I'm going to stay on you, Alessandro, as well. So basically, how you feeling about Inter going through to the round of 16? We've been back in the competition for 4 years now after spending almost a decade out of it. It started with Spalletti. That looked like it would have got a little better under Conte. But at the end of the day, Alessandro, it's Simone Inzaghi that's taken Inter through to the round of 16.
Yeah, I mean, with Conte, we were always close, but we were focusing on something different in the end. And honestly, at the beginning of the season, we knew that Inzaghi is not the one who prefer one competition to another. If he can go ahead, he can go ahead with both. And I'm really happy we made it through, of course, but from now on, I'm not gonna go crazy. I'm not gonna be too much worried about the results because if we get one of the Premier League team or Bayern Monaco, it's over even before we start to play. So I'm just happy we made it through. And, step by step, as you said, with Spalletti, we made it back to Champions League. We Conte, we got close to get through. With Inzaghi, finally we made it through. And who knows next year. But so far, this is what we can do. And I'm happy with that, especially if we can keep going up in Serie A.
Yeah, well said, man. I'm going to go over to Aqueel. It feels really good, man. That game against Real Madrid, you can't really go to the Bernabeu and expect too much, but we did play pretty well in the first half. Overall, how are you feeling about going through to the round of 16 as runners-up in Group D?
Hey, I think we played well against Real Madrid. To be honest, I think we did well. We were away. We played a good first half, like you mentioned. And to be honest, my expectation was to come out with a draw. I think that would have been a perfect result given the nature of the game, the way that was played. We were unfortunate, to be honest. We were unfortunate that we conceded the goals and we couldn't finish the game at level terms. But like you said, we made it to the round of 16. It's exciting, and it's also a process that we went through. We had a downtime that we weren't qualifying. Then we came under Spalletti, Conte, and now Inzaghi. I think now we have the right mentality, the right players in place. We are ready. We deserve to be in the round of 16 now. So it to me, I know, like Alessandro mentioned, we want to avoid some of the Premier League team or Bayern Munich, but I think we're ready for the challenge. I think if we face any team that we can possibly face, I think we can, if we have the right mindset and if we play the game to our strength, I think we can take anybody.
Yeah, thanks, man. Well said. Matt, over to you. I'm sure you're very excited, man. I know that you probably didn't expect to go to the Bernabeu and get the 3 points either, but going into the round of 16, I guess I'll segue a little bit with you. how are you feeling about the potential opponents, man? Who you sort of seeing Inter coming up against? I know it's pretty much potluck being drawn out, Matt, but how are you feeling about the opponents going into the next round? Who do you think that we can beat?
Yeah, I'm happy. Look, that we're not getting a Spanish opponent, because we've been in group stages over the last 4 years, whatever it was, and we've had Spanish opponents who we have not beaten. And for us to go into a knockout match where it's over 2 legs, I'm glad we get a different team that we get to face. So I'm hoping we get Man United, and the only reason I say this is because with that new coach, he likes pressing, and Man United have not been a pressing team. So it's going to take them maybe a couple of months to get a bit of adjustment, a new style, something that maybe we can catch them out on. So I'm hoping we can stay away from the Man Cities, the Liverpools, the Bayern Munichs, because they're ruthless. If we're off, they'll rip us apart. Where the other teams, even Ajax, could be like that too. They can be pretty ruthless, as I've seen lately. But Man United are the ones I'm looking at that I think we can beat, and I think we can beat them comfortably too. If we play all over the park, then yeah, our style of play should beat theirs. So I'm confident if we get them in the next round.
Yeah, it's been a very good Champions League campaign, and it was made slightly better financially as we pocketed another 800,000 euros because the prize money for the Italian sides is only being shared by us and Juventus in the round of 16. So a nice little prize kitty there, which may even help us out a little bit in January, and we're going to get to that a little bit soon. This weekend, however, we come up against one of the worst sides in Serie A. Still a little bit of a weird one, considering when you look at them on paper, they definitely don't belong in the second last position on paper. I mean, they're not going to set Serie A on fire. They're not going to make even the Conference League or anything like that. They're a mid-table team at best all round. But this weekend against Cagliari, 3 points needs to be obligatory. It needs to be comfortable, in my opinion. We are at home. I'm confident, but also cautious at the same time. I'm going to start with Alessandro once again on this one. We go into the match this week, Alessandro, knowing that 3 points really just keeps the pressure on not just the side above us, but the sides genuinely below us as well. 3 points, very important, Alessandro. How confident are you of us beating Cagliari this weekend?
Well, pretty confident, and it's not the best thing because when you think, oh, we have this, then you always have bad surprises. But as you were saying, Cagliari is not in the best shape since the beginning of the season. Actually, from the last season, they barely avoid relegation. So it's gonna be interesting to see Mazzari's team, but he's trying everything. If you look at Cagliari, every week is something different. I thought Mazzari coming in was trying to, start from 4-4-2 and adjust the defense and then work on the rest. But he wasn't able to do any of that, and the team's just been awful. Even though he has good players on paper, as you said, probably at this point we just need to look at them better because probably on paper they're not so good. And I talk about Godin and Cáceres and Strudman and players that were good, but just because they have their name doesn't mean they're good anymore. So hopefully we can beat them easily and rest some of our key players for the next game.
Yeah, well said, man. The illusion of the big name and the has-been name on the back of a jersey, it's very, very real, especially when it comes down to really having to go for the nitty-gritty and grind out those sort of results. They're on the back of 4 draws against Sassuolo, Salernitana, Hellas Verona, and Torino. It'll be the 83rd time that we play Cagliari, and we've won 40 of those games. They've won 14, with 28 of them ending in draws. I'll go over to you next, Matt. How confident are you going into this game, knowing that Inter, in terms of injury-wise, when you look at our other teams, we have actually been pretty lucky. The only players missing for us, Matt, I believe, are Damian. He's still subject to an injury. I'm not too sure about Vidal. However, the latest news has Alexis Sanchez starting. Barella has to be cautious as well, Matt, because he's 1 yellow card away from suspension in Serie A as well.
Yeah, I'm quietly confident. I'll say that we should overrun them pretty easily. In terms of the players who will be on the field, I actually want to see Barella. I want to see him step up. You know, he's been average for a little while now, and I know it's been a little change in position, and Inzaghi's style has been a little bit different, but I want to see him step up, and I want to see him redeem himself. You know, a lot of fans were disappointed in him, and they're saying he'll never be Capitano for Inter ever, and I didn't like that talk. I still think he's very young, he's immature, but I want to see him step up. He's the guy I'm looking at this week to, and especially against Cagliari too. You know, his old club. I want to see him step up and be the player we know he is. So I expect him to actually maybe bag a goal and an assist this week. So hopefully he can, he can prove us all the haters wrong.
That'd be really nice, man. You know, we're the top scoring side in the European leagues in terms of scoring headers. We've found the net 10 times that way already this season, and we've already scored from 13 set pieces, which I dare say is a really nice change of pace compared to the last seasons. We're going to end we're going to end goal this season with a lot of goals from set pieces, and I expect us to get one or two of them again this time around. Aqueel, going over to you, man. You can start to segue into the actual scoreline prediction of our result to our fixture to Cagliari on the weekend. In terms of players, who do you think will step up, man? Just quickly, I think not only Barella but Lautaro. If he's starting, he needs to play well and he needs to finish well. Aqueel.
100%. Barella, most importantly, I mean, he's got 5 assists so far this season. He's the joint leader in assists for Inter right now in the season. So he's going to step up. He needs to really put his head together and play a good game. Come back strong, put his stats up, find the goal, find the assist. The other person you mentioned, Lautaro, 100%. He really needs to step up now. I think there's a lot of time that we see him in the game. You know, he gives us these moment of brilliances, and he has these little moments, but he just never comes through like at the time of, when it really matters. So I think he will be on, we need to keep an eye on him, special eye, because it's now expected of him to really take the lead, to be really honest, be the guy, be the X factor for Inter and go score the goals and when it matters the most. And the third person I'm looking at is our wingbacks. Perisic is having a great season, and if he's in the starting lineup, I expect him to smash the left side again. And anything less than a 3-0 victory against Cagliari this weekend will not settle well with me. I think we need to go in there. We need to make a statement. We just had a really rough patch. I mean, not a rough, but like a tough patch of games in the last, couple of weeks. So I think now we have a little bit of a layoff. Cagliari, they're really at the bottom of the table. Really got to go in there and smash them. 3-0. That's my prediction.
Yeah, however, we do still need to be a little bit cautious as we start to move into lineup. So I'm going to stay on you, Aqueel, and go in reverse order. I did slip my mind, of course. We're going to be out without Joaquin Correa. He's our most injured player at the moment. If Damian was to return, just a fun fact, it would be his 250th appearance in top 5 European League side. So big shout out to Damian. He's going to get that accolade at some point this season. Although Denzel Dumfries was substituted at halftime on Tuesday/Wednesday, whenever you watch the Champions League, that was just precautionary from Inzaghi, so he should still be there to start. Speaking of those wing-backs, Aqueel, but in terms of our actual lineup, it's Handanovic, Skriniar, De Vrij is expected to return after taking training and the pitch midweek as well. Bastoni, Dumfries, Barella, Brozo, Hakan, Perisic, Martinez, and Dzeko. However, I've also seen on Sky Sports that they may have rumored that Alexis Sanchez could come in to start. I wouldn't be opposed to that, Aqueel, man. We need to keep rotating a little bit, and a game against Cagliari is a game that you want to rotate. I think Inzaghi rotated well against Venezia and Spezia. What are you thinking of our starting lineup, Aqueel?
Yeah, definitely. I think this is a game that we can give Dzeko some rest. He's played out a lot of minutes. I think Sanchez would be a good time for Sanchez to come in, and he's been a little frustrated on the bench as well. He's not obviously dealing with injuries and stuff as well. So it'll be a good time for him to come in and redeem himself and partner with Lautaro up front, and maybe get a goal or something. So it'll be a good time for him to come in as well. But despite, I think our lineup is pretty well. I think it's pretty well set. Inzaghi rotates the squad pretty well. I really want to back Dumfries. He's sort of coming to light, slowly but surely. He's getting the rhythm. He's understanding. Obviously, it's a new league and it's a new team, new coach. Everything is different. But I think he'll come about, and I think that's what the goal is for Inzaghi, is to slowly integrate him into the team and get him used to it, get a good feel of it. So I'm excited for him. He's had his downs and his troubles, but I think he'll come through. He's a solid player. He looks passionate. He's not afraid to get in there. He needs to not afraid to put his body on the line. So that's good to see. That's a good physical player. But yeah, overall, I think our team looks good. I wouldn't make any change. I'm happy to see DeVry back in the lineup as well. And yeah, I'm really excited to see Perisic, what he can do on the left side. Barella, Lautaro, Sanchez, whoever starts. I think we're a good squad right now.
Yeah, well said, man. Over to you, Matt. That predicted lineup, either or, it looks good. We've still got depth on the bench. And just quickly, just so we can keep the conversation going in another direction, Cagliari's possible / predicted lineup, as Alessandro mentioned, it really is really crap, to be honest. Cragno, Caceres, Cepitelli, Carboni, Licojanes, Bellanova, Grassi, Marin. And then out of nowhere, while Dalbert appears, the only thing I'm scared of is João Pedro and Keita Balde up front. If you're a slight betting man, like sometimes I am, whenever I see former Inter players coming up against us, I think just shut up and take my money. This is the easiest money I've seen in my life. I don't think we're going to be threatened too much by anybody but João Pedro, though, Matt. How are you feeling going into this game with our lineup and that potential Cagliari lineup with Godin on the bench?
Yeah, João Pedro is the only guy I'm afraid of, or not even afraid of, but he's the only guy I think can score from that team. Keita Balde, yeah, he was good a few years ago. He's not up to that Inter standard that he tried to be a few years ago, and he has the spirit, but yeah, skill wise, he's just an average player. So João Pedro is the guy who could get on the scoreboard for them, but for us, De Vrij being back is so essential to this team. I know we went 4 games or 4 wins in a row really without him, but like in the league. But in that game against Real Madrid, I felt like maybe D'Ambrosio was a bit out of his element. So to have De Vrij back there in the centre, that can free up Bastoni to go forward a little bit more as he likes to do, and just put Skriniar back on that right where he's more comfortable. So I feel our defence should be right. We're now 3 games in a row clean sheets in the league. I see it's taking it to 4. I see us scoring a few goals. I'm very confident in this team. So hopefully this Real Madrid game has not broke their spirits at all, because it did feel like the players were upset with that result, even though we've got through to the next round. But in saying that, this Inter team in the league, they're a different beast this year. So I see us, putting them to the sword. And even Lautaro, he's got to step up too. So hopefully with Sanchez, that gives him a bit more freedom to play his normal game like he used to have. So maybe Dzeko's been cramping his style last few games.
Maybe a little bit, man. I like it. Cagliari just looks stiff, Alessandro. They don't look like, unless João Pedro pulls off something heroic, that they should be able to break us down in any way, shape, or form. Not to suggest that we would even be on the back foot for any point in this game. Alessandro, how confident are you? What do you think is going to happen? And yeah, basically same as the other 2 gentlemen.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're probably gonna park the bus, and but overall, my prediction is a 3-1, with hopefully Çalhanoğlu keep going with his scoring streak, and Perisic. They are recreating on the left what we had last year on the right, meaning that triangle. Last year was Barella, Kimi, and Lukaku. This year is basically Perisic, Çalhanoğlu, and then Bastoni from the back. So hopefully that left side is gonna give us advantage. So my prediction is 3-1. Çalhanoğlu's, Perisic, and hopefully Lautaro, and one between Nandez or João Pedro for them. That's the only 2 good players they have, basically.
Yeah, Nandez is actually in doubt 50-50 for this game. And with all the rumors
Right.
of him still being linked with us for a move, I think it's probably best for everybody if he sits this one out, probably except
Yep.
for us. But yeah, but I think that'll happen. Yeah, thank you to all the gentlemen for that. I would have to agree. I expect a dominant performance myself. I expect us to be on the front foot very early. One of those games where the longer it drags out, you'd hopefully break the deadlock nice and early. An early goal in this match would mean that the floodgates open straight away against a team like Cagliari. So I'm actually going to go for 4-0. I think it's going to be very comfortable. I think Lautaro, Hakan, and one goal for Perisic and a goal from a defender on a set piece, maybe a Skriniar or De Vrij or even a Bastoni header. I think there's a goal from a corner or a set piece coming from one of our bigger boys. Something very important that needs to be spoken about and looks like it's edging that little bit closer, which is awesome to see. The engine, the ticking, everything that is basically the inter midfield in Marcelo Brozovic. The contract renewal is looming. We're willing to offer him 6 million for the renewal, 6 million a season. It is not cheap, obviously, but in this day and age, in this modern era, these are the figures that you need to pay your best players to stay at the club. And I dare say at other clubs, he would be getting more if he was to go somewhere in England or maybe to Germany as well. So this is very important to me. I know it's very important to a lot of fans. I'm actually going to go to Matt first on this one. How happy are you to know that the signature for Brozovic, it looks to be like it is coming, hopefully? And do you think we're making the right decision putting him on 6 million for at least another 4 years?
I would have gone 7 million. I would have asked for $1 million from $1 from 1 million fans to put through that. But if we can get over the line for 6, then I'm happy. He's critical to our success. Brozovic is the engine of our midfield. We saw in that game against Real Madrid, we looked completely lost without him on the pitch. This guy is so important to us, and with the chance of him not signing, I was very scared. But if that news is true, then yeah, we're in a very good position. And if we can even build on that midfield, add a couple more depth, just so he can rest when needed. I hope he just doesn't get burnt out because he's playing a lot of football lately, and he's so essential to our success at the moment.
He really is. In an ideal world, Stefano Sensi could jump in and give him a rest, ideally for 30 minutes if it was that case. But we're still waiting to see more evidence that Sensi is ready. It's just so weird, Matt, and I'll stay on you for this. He comes on sometimes under Inzaghi for a few minutes, and then we don't see him again for another 2-3 fixtures. Do you think it's just a fact that Inzaghi can't trust him?
Oh, definitely. He's made of glass. Sensi, we saw in that match, I can't even remember, it was earlier in the year, came on for 10 minutes. He limped off after a few, and we ended the match with 10. I can't remember what match that was, but
it was. I think it was Sampdoria in like match day 3 or 4 this season, and we ended with 10. Yeah, from the 85th minute.
That's the one. So, but in saying that, I look at our next match coming up, and with Barella suspended, this will be the perfect opportunity to actually bring Sensi in, and I hope we get that Man United, we get that fixture, because if you remember a couple of years ago when we versed Barcelona at the Camp Nou, and under Conte, that was some of the best football. That passing that we saw throughout the team was some of the best football I've seen Inter play in the last maybe decade. So, and Sensi was very, very essential to that. So, if he can actually gain the trust of Inzaghi and maybe start in these next few games, then we've got a really good player who's sitting on the bench who we just can't use. So, hopefully that can change.
Yeah, well said. Aqueel, going into the conversation about Brozovic and then segueing a little bit into Marotta, because, he continues to be the pillar of the modern success of this club. Yeah, we can say thank you, big thank you to Antonio Conte and his backroom staff. A huge thank you to Lukaku and Hakimi, who were instrumental in winning that. But Marotta really is the architect of all this, as we've said a lot of the time. So how good are you feeling about the potential renewal for Brozovic? And maybe, Aqueel, what do you expect out of Inter in January under Marotta? Because we know that this guy really likes to work in silence, mate.
Now, first of all, my hat's off to Marotta. It's all salute to him. He's the backbone. He's the pillar, like you said. And, the way he has architect these deals with teams and the way he's brought on people, like the way he's had these players sign contracts. It's amazing. It's amazing that the magic he's doing. And I'm so excited that, we're coming to a resolution with Brozovic because he's such an important player to our midfield. The type of numbers Brozovic is putting lately, it's crazy. It's amazing. Like, this is the type of midfielder that you really want to lock down for next 4 years. And we're actually getting a bargain deal here. 6 million for a player of his caliber who's putting up these kind of numbers. He should be on everybody's radar. And if we can lock him down, that would be amazing. That would be a biggest steal of the season. And then going into January, we already know, we can already tell Marotta is, looking at, other players. He's looking to crack some deals. And I honestly think that we should look into getting a midfielder in place for Brozovic to back him up as a substitute. Uh, Maybe younger, similar playing style. We can use some depth, obviously, with obviously with Sensi around, Vidal. They're all very injury prone, to be honest. With Sensi, with his injuries, I think it's a matter of his confidence too. I think when you sit out and you don't play at the highest level for a certain number of time, like you obviously kind of lose a little bit of your confidence. And we saw when he came on in the last couple, I think it was the last game or the game before that, and he had the opportunity to put a ball, in front of the goal, and he just guided. I mean, obviously, it's not an easy chance. Nothing is an easy chance, but a prime Sensi would have taken that shot and put it away. So it's a matter of his confidence too. So I think we just got to give him some time. Obviously, we can't really sell him. Nobody's going to buy an injury-prone player, so I think we were going to be sticking with him. So give him time. I think he's going to come around. We know he has the quality, so he'll come around. But as far as like other players, I mean, I think we have good depth, but I think we can use another player who we really rely on when we need to substitute a player like Brozovic or Barella or like any other midfielders. So we need to look into that, and I think Marotta already has a few players in mind. I think there's some work being done in the background, and I'm excited about this January transfer window.
I think we lost Anthony.
Oh, sorry, guys. I didn't realize I was muted. Can you guys hear me now? Sorry, that's my mistake. These audio podcasts. Alessandro, I was actually talking to you. I was going to say going into January, Marotta will have a couple of aces up his sleeve. I don't imagine it to be a very active market for any European sides, let alone Italian ones, that's for sure. But going in there, I know there's a couple of names. Do you think we need to reinforce the attack line? Do you believe the rumors that Alexis Sanchez's wage might be coming off the books and, Inzaghi's sort of been giving him these little sporadic minutes and performances just to make sure other clubs are watching? How do you see January panning out for Marotta and Inter?
Well, so everything depends on two players. One you mentioned already, Sanchez, and the second one is Vecino. It's pretty clear both want to leave the club. They don't play as much as I think they should. So both players can free some asset for us, and but as you said, at the moment the market is not the best, and our financial situation is not the best. So it really depends, and we need to see if we can make it until the summer windows and get some good deals, meaning some transfer, some free transfer for us, like Konana, which is supposed to happen. There are other names that they should get free for us. But let's say that we can get rid of the Vecino, then we can start a conversation with Cagliari for Nandes, and including, I don't know, Satriano and some other clause for next year. Or if Sanchez will leave, we can go to Sassuolo and see what's the situation with their strikers.
Yeah.
But again, it really depends what we can do. And I want just to point out, it's not just Marotta, it's Auxilio too, and uh, the whole team they have. They're doing an amazing job. You know, there are other teams sniffing around Brozovic, but it seems pretty clear that he wants to stay. It's just a matter of finding the right number, but it should happen pretty soon. And we saw the same uh, with the previous renewal. They were in the air and just they just come out. You know, like Barella um, was going to renew, and then one day was like, all right, it's done, and that's it. Nobody was surprised. There was no big reaction, but that's a big deal. And same thing with the other player. Now they have an agenda, and the next name is Brozovic. The following one would be Perisic, and then we should be good. Probably Di Marco as well. Just a small extension, but they are working. They are on it, and they are building uh, a good team. And all star also from the coach. They choose to replace Conte. It wasn't so easy. We didn't have so much time, but they had a good idea, and that was the perfect coach to go on with the project because of the system, because of the ideas, because he knew Serie A already, and so it's until we have certain people in the back in the control room, as Auxilio, as Marotta. I'm not worried. And if tomorrow I decide to sell, I don't know, Brozovic, maybe they know something I don't know, and I'm gonna be
Yeah.
fine with that.
Yeah, well said, man. I'm going to stay on you, and then I'm going to ask the same question to the other two gentlemen as well. Scamacca, the real deal? Yes or no, Alessandro? Should we get him? Yes. How much should we look at putting up? For me personally, he's showing like he could be the best thing to replace Edin Dzeko at the moment.
Well, Skamaka is really hard to read. Um, he had a very unusual um, history with team. It didn't grow up in the small team in Italy, but he preferred to go around in the Netherlands and other leagues. So it came back to Italy just recently. Um, Physically, is a beast, of course. Technically, it still has a lot of improvement to do. But in the long run, if you can improve uh, under the finalization aspect, it can be a really good deal. At the moment, I don't see him still at the level of Inter. You know, it's almost there. It's like it's not so different from Pinamonti. Pinamonti, in our mind, my mind, is like, oh my god, still these guys, oh forget it. But I think they're around the same age, and
Mm.
Pinamonti is scoring more. So if I have to choose, uh, I don't know. It will be difficult. We had Pinamonti last year, but Conte never played the guy. Now
Yeah.
he's playing somewhere else and he's scoring. So was it just a matter of Conte didn't like Pinamonti, or was the player not good enough for Inter? I think again, it really depends on the coach and all the people in the decision room. They know better than me. I mean, if probably I would not buy either Pinamonti or Scamacca. I will go somebody completely different. But it's not up to me. So I hope
Yeah.
I answer your question.
You did, man. There's a couple other names out there, but Scamacca, possibly Raspadori. But, I got to give it to Pinamonti. He has played himself into some good form under Empoli, who are just playing pretty well in general, to be honest. Matt, going over to you, man. It's been a great podcast by these to be joined by you guys so far. Matt, going into January, are there a couple of names that you think Inter could really go in for, and even some foundations we might be laying for next transfer window after that?
Yeah, I don't see January us changing too much. I think it's just trying to hold on to what we've got, trying to get those re-signings over the line. Brozovic, obviously, Perisic, they're the main ones. Onana, he's not free until June, I think. So I don't know if we'll spend 20 million, whatever it is, to get him in January. It just all depends on the confidence with Handanovic. We've seen great performances from Handanovic lately. We've seen poor performances from Handanovic lately. So he's the only position I'm worried about. The others, Vecino, I think we're playing him in the wrong position. I don't know. I think he needs to go higher up the field. He needs to be more attacking. When he comes on, he's very deep. He's playing more of a defensive structure, and I don't like him in that role. I think if we put him up a little bit further, we'll have a different player. But yeah, the rest of the players, I don't see it changing too much. Even Sanchez, I feel like he's starting to get confidence, and him and Vidal, when they're on the field together, they look like they're 20 years old. They're running around the field. They're happy. They've got their heads up. So I don't know. I think we've got the squad to just keep moving, and then in June, I think we can buy some players then. Scamacca, he's the complete player for me. I think he's the best one to come in. 6'5", good in the air, good with his feet, quick, strong. I don't see us going for any other players. If we sell Lautaro, then Raspadori's the player who's most like him, I think. So they're the only ones I really see. Maybe a couple of midfielders for free if we can. Maybe Kessier, if Milan aren't going to re-sign him, or if he won't re-sign with Milan. But yeah, there's a lot of names out there. It's just who we want.
Yeah, fair enough, man. Aqueel, I'm going to give you the last word. Yeah, of course.
Sorry.
Of course,
I
of course.
forgot to mention, if we have to find for a replacement, one name that was thrown down, I don't know why or if it's real or not, but one name was Thorsby from Sampdoria, and I'll be so happy because I love the player, and I mean it will be also a replacement for Vecino. That's it. I'm done.
Nah, nice one. I don't think there's any rumors linking him to us though, is there, Alessandro? But he would be a good signing, man.
No, there was some rumor. It just came out this week. I don't know. I don't know how credible they are. But there is something. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. There could be something there. Akil, my friend, the PIF rumors, man. What do you say in the last word on this? Because Zhang and Suning, he's still standing pretty staunch. But where there is smoke, there is still a lot of fire. I don't expect this to be solved this year, obviously. We're in December. But I think starting around the back end of January, February, we're finally going to know if there's any legitimacy to this. What are you saying about it, man?
Yeah, things are going to start rolling out probably end of January or somewhere around March or April, when everybody has closed their books for the year and they're doing their stuff. I think Zhang's they want to sell, right? They don't want to keep this club long term, so their intention is to sell. And if they're getting a hefty offer from this PIF, team, and they're really interested in bringing it over, it could go down as, early as June or early July. As soon as the season ends, they're going to make it official and transfer the stuff over. This kind of stuff kind of excites me a little bit too, to be honest. I've had my doubts over Zhang's over the years, and how they've handled the club financially and all that. But you got to give them some credit too. I mean, they've pulled together during tough times. They've put the money in sometimes, and being a little bit cautious, conservative as well. But it is tough, to put money, that kind of money in a club like Inter, and all that. So I got to give them some credit. But yeah, I think long term, I think it will be beneficial for the club, for Zanks, for the PIF to do a smooth transition and inject some good money so we can really make an impression next year and get some good signings and make a bit deeper run in the Champions League.
Absolutely. Thank you, my bro. Matt, is there any part of you that thinks there's no truth to this and that Suning and Zhang continue with Inter next year?
Yeah, I don't read too much into it until it's official. Look, owners, I think, yeah, Suning, mate, they brought us a Scudetto. Like, we haven't had one of them in a decade, and they brought that. Eric Thohir could not bring that. So I don't. Yeah, I think they're doing a great job. I know there's been a lot of criticism, especially with the money, the loan that they got last year, and what that meant for the club, and selling Lukaku. But we see what Lukaku's done at Chelsea this year. He's been injured. He's been inconsistent. We got 115 million for him, so that's a great bit of business for me. Marotta, they've appointed him to make all the decisions. He's doing a fantastic job. So if we continue down this path, as long as Marotta re-signs with us and stays with the club, we're in great hands. I don't care who the owners are.
Yeah, that seems to be the theme, as it has been for the last couple of years. As long as Marotta's there leading that backrooms team with Auxilio and whoever else is working, I think we're in safe hands. Alessandro, I'm just really curious what your thoughts and opinions are on the PIF takeover, and if you think there is a lot or a little substance to it, mate.
Like you guys said, until I don't see anything real, I don't know. As long as Suning is paying whoever needs to pay, and we are going on the field, and there are no scandals or anything, I'm good. I prefer this way than other stuff that is going on with other teams that I don't want to even mention.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. I just want to thank everybody who is listening to this, whether it's on YouTube or any of our audio platforms. Make sure you like, make sure you share, and a huge thank you to what has been a very, very exciting podcast with a great panel. So, Alessandro, it was awesome to hear from you again, and I'm sure we will soon.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Matt, it was awesome to hear from you guys. Make sure you're checking out the Inter Worldwide website for all of Matt's articles, pre-matches, post-matches, special pieces, opinions. He does it all. Thank you so much for your work. Appreciate you joining us as well today.
No worries, bro. Forza Inter. Hopefully we can continue this, and Scudetto number 20 is on the way.
I love it, man. I love that optimism. Aqueel, it's always a pleasure to connect with you, man. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for that lovely phone call from LA, being able to give a thumbs up and share a word with Michael Materazzi. That's a dream come true.
Yeah, of course, man. Anytime. Thank you for having me. Great podcast. Loving connecting with you guys, Matt, Alessandro, yourself. Great to be here. And really excited for next few months. I think we are really putting ourselves in good position, and I think we'll get there. Thank you.
Absolutely. From all of us here at Inter Worldwide, Forza Inter, ciao ragazzi.